The UK is predicted to be one of the fastest growing economies in the Western Hemisphere this year. And the UK economic growth is heavily dominated by London. But London's economic growth is heavily dominated by the SME sector, which is creating the bulk of the growth. We are focusing on this small group, which we are called the new and growing companies. And we want to understand them better. And the purpose of today is to shed some light on their growth, their constraints and their economic impact. And we've spent the last 2 or 3 years commissioning research to get a better understanding of this dynamic growth sector in our economy.
My hopes for the NGC Forum is that it helps set something of an agenda that relates to growing business, because so much of political discussion will be about NHS, the sort of broader global economy, Europe, etc. Whereas actually what really matters to most people is having a really healthy, growing economy of businesses which employ people in interesting jobs. So I think the more that the forum can sort of highlight what we should really be thinking about, and maybe come up with a list of key things we would really like to see happen, and actually see politicians start to address them.
If one good thing would come out of the forum, it would be that people would come together, they would really start to address the real issues that small business is facing, and that they would go away with some positive messages and some positive ideas for how practical help can be provided. And I think that's around areas of knowledge, information, and an understanding that there is a lot of money and support available, but people don't necessarily know how and where to access it.
As the UK returns to growth, London's new and growing companies are leading the pack. They're confident, they're creative, they're competitive, and most importantly, they're on a strong growth curve. They're continuing to grow fast. And in the next hour and a half, that's what we really need to celebrate and talk about.
New and growing companies are so essential to what we are trying to do as a country, as UK PLC, and in terms of trying to rebuild the economy, which is the most important thing that we've had to do in the last 4.5 years.
I think the forum is a great opportunity I hope for the audience and the rest of the panel to hear a diverse set of views about what it's really like to start up and grow companies in the UK.
The businesses we're looking at here as part of this new and growing companies agenda in these workspace units, as I said at the beginning, fascinating laboratory to be able to consider this whole agenda. New and youthful businesses, many of them quite small but expanding, growing, 92% growing, and a very high proportion of skilled and managerial workers in these businesses.
Right, why do you go to the bank when you want some money? Because you think that's where the money is. And if you're a small and medium-sized enterprise, it isn't necessarily where the money is for you. There are alternative sources of finance which can respond much, much faster and can give you the money you want on terms that you set. And this is a really important part about the alternative finance sector. A lot of it is run on a marketplace principle where your cost of finance is competed down.
I'd love to see senior politicians listening, taking note.
It's been an amazing journey, but I think the challenge now, there's a lot, the foundations have been set within London and within the UK to kind of support small startups, to initiate startups, but we really now need to help kind of grow them and really see them through to the next stage and ensure that they actually live.
I'm looking forward to having the chance to put forward the case for rapid, high-growth businesses rather than just the SME sector.
We help them build their teams, we incorporate them, we help them develop their ideas, but they come to us at a super early stage. It's the kind of thing that any bank would be absolutely crazy to put any money in. So these are guys that are looking for equity financing. These are small companies that are not going to be your typical SME. They're going to be part of that 6 to 10% high growth companies that are going to be growing incredibly fast over the next couple of years. So to just put that into context, over the last 2 years we've built 20 companies and they're now employing more than 120 people.
We're listening to the NGC sector, we're understanding the NGC sector, and today, in an election year, we're hoping to share our findings with the London political establishment. It's in their interest to have the best understanding as possible about what's constraining and what's promoting London's economic growth.